How's it going, you guys? Connor here with Caliber Whips, and today in this video I'm going to show you how I attach a Turks knot onto a heel knot foundation. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. So the first thing I always do is I take off the knot. So I always make the knots ahead of time. I use this little jig and I tie it. Sometimes before the whip is even made, I'll just go ahead and tie a Turks knot on it and then just kind of keep it to the side when I'm ready to use it. So now that I have the whip all done, this whip is complete, all it needs is the Turks knot. I break out my knot here, and I'm just going to put it on top just like this, and now all we have to do is tighten it. Now to tighten it, the tool of choice is a normal, small, flathead screwdriver. This is what it looks like if you want to pick it up at the hardware store. I really like this. It has a very fine flathead point, and it works really, really well. So I'm going to flip this whip over really quick because I want it to match with the bottom. So this is where the bottom of the whip is, so that's where I want the strands to be. So what I usually do is I'll go ahead and I'll kind of nudge the top up against itself, and then I'll take this end that I ended with. So this was the starting end, and then this was kind of the working end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this snug until I see the strand that dropped. So that was the strand that moved. I'm just going to pull that gently, and then I'm going to follow that strand down. So this was where it followed. I'm just going to pull that. Sorry about the black color, it's not the easiest to see. So what I'm going to do here is, this was a strand that dropped. I'm actually going to move over and pull that cord, and what it's going to do is it's going to make that little loop cinch up. See that? And now I'm going to follow this cord down to about right here, and I'm just going to cinch that up as well. Oops, that was the wrong strand. There it is right there. That's what I want. And I'm going to pull that snug. I'm not going to pull it super tight because it is going to get tight as we go along. So I'm just going to see which strand that is. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is start working my way up the knot. Okay, so we finished tying the inside of the knot. Now I do apologize for the lack of talking, but there really is nothing to explain here. It's pretty self-explanatory. I start with the end, the working end, and I start tying it backwards because we want to tie up these inside loops first, and then when we get around the back, we get the outside loops next. So that's kind of the strategy here with tackling this type of knot. So what we're literally going to do now is just go back through and follow this strand up to the loop that it goes to and just start tightening away. Now for this half, you're going to want to pull a little bit tighter, making sure everything is nice and snug. See this kink right here? Gotta make sure he's gone. There we go. Hold on, he's still right there. Perfect. Now, hopefully that was helpful for you guys. Now, as you can tell, there are still gaps in the knot. Now, how do we get rid of this, you ask? Well, that's why we have our little tool here. And we're actually going to start forcing the strands down like this. See what I mean? So you take your little screwdriver here and you start pulling these strands down. So you see where there's gaps right here? Take your little fid or screwdriver and just start pulling these strands down like that. See that? Because notice how it's kind of like scrunched up here on the top? Well, we can fix that by pulling these strands down. I'm actually going to pull these end pieces tight. There we go, to get rid of some of that slack. But see, we got some gaps right there forming. So just take your fid and start pulling these strands down. Just like that. See that? Now we're going to continue this until the knot is complete. Now we may have to retighten it a little bit, but that's okay. It'll be worth it in the end. Alright, so the knot is officially done. The main takeaway is that after you go ahead and tighten the strands on the Turks knot, you want to make sure that if you see any gaps, to squish those strands towards the center of the knot itself. And if the gaps still are there or still visible, be sure to take the knot off entirely and shrink your foundation, because that may be the issue. Because sometimes Turks knot foundations can be a little bit on the bulky side, and if the knot is not big enough for it or to cover it enough, there will be very noticeable gaps. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that subscribe button right there. I would definitely appreciate it. As well as check out my second channel, the Sandbox channel. I upload kind of random content every now and then sporadically on that channel. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.